This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about My Own Private Idaho from 1991, directed by Gus Van Sant. How do you like that, RJ? A nice English-American title that can't be butchered, mispronounced. This is what it is.
Is it also a nice English movie that is 100% just American? No, like fancy like retellings of literature or stories, or it's a straight across movie, right?
Allegedly.
Oh, so it's not.
The tagline for this film, RJ. Wherever, whatever, have a nice day.
What does that even? I don't really.
Wherever you are, whatever you are, have a nice day.
I mean, I understand, but it's like I don't really.
It's the end of the movie, isn't it? Doesn't it tell you to have a nice day at the end?
I mean, I guess, but is that?
Yeah. Okay. So the synopsis of this movie, RJ, in this loose adaptation of Shakespeare's Henry IV, not Henry V.
Just specifically for though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of Henry IV, Henry IV, Henry IV. Mike Waters is a gay hustler afflicted with narcolepsy. Scott Favor is the rebellious son of a mayor. Together, the two travel from Portland, Oregon to Idaho, and finally to the coast of Italy in a quest to find Mike's estranged mother. Along the way, they turn tricks for money and drugs, eventually attracting the attention of a wealthy benefactor and sexual deviant.
Which one's the sexual deviant?
Yeah, it's just badly written, I think.
Oh.
Because it attracts the attention of a wealthy benefactor and sexual deviant. It's like is it the same? Are we talking about Udo?
Like Udo Kier? I mean, he doesn't seem like a deviant though. He just seems like a regular guy.
He wants to, maybe bone down with a couple hot young men.
Well, I mean, that's not deviant.
No,
though,
it's
right?
not. It's just that's it. Yeah. It's like okay.
Hey, do you? Okay, wait. So when talking about sexual deviance.
We didn't want to talk about boning down?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
But do you remember that movie Breach with Chris Cooper?
Nope.
Chris Cooper, Ryan Phillippe, Dennis Haysbert.
I feel like this might be the first time Breach has been mentioned on the planet in the last 24 hours. But continue.
Okay. So, I really like one thing. This movie came out in 2007 when I was in like grade 11 with my buddies, and the preview for this movie is so fucking ridiculous.
Okay, RJ, let me just read you the first line of the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
For the plot. Eric O'Neill is a young FBI employee assigned to work undercover as a clerk to Robert Hansen, a senior agent he is told is suspected of being a sexual deviant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And so actually, ironically, Breach came out a week ago, was its 14th anniversary.
And this also, apparently, Hansen is a devout Catholic who's also a member of Opus Dei. Hansen urges O'Neill, a lapsed Catholic, and his secular East German-born wife to become active churchgoers. This is like the RJ movie right here.
Oh, I know. I saw Breach in theaters, buddy.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought it up is because the preview was at the time we thought it was so stupid, and like because they're talking about Chris Cooper and they're like he's like one of the best sleeper agents we've ever had. Like he's a good spy, and they're like naming all this stuff. They're like he's intelligent, he's smart, he's cunning, and then there's a pause. He's also a sexual deviant. And then the preview like cuts to like naked people dancing, and it was just like what? It's like what? Like it's part of the story, but at the same time we're like, what does this have to do with anything? So me and Hammead actually still say that to each other once in a while. He'll just text me one day. He's also a sexual deviant. So Breach, man. Are you gonna watch Breach after we do this episode?
Yeah, I'll have to pray on that one.
Breach. Okay,
So-
well, coming to the collection one day.
So, My Own Private Idaho. I've seen this movie once before. Probably 2004 or so, whenever this DVD would have come out. And because at the time, I would have thought of myself as quite a Gus Van Sant fan to some degree, I guess.
Sure. Who wasn't?
Who wasn't a big Sant head? Big on Gus.
I think Santhead is good.
Yeah. So this was his third feature film. It's a follow up
After
to
Jerry and
Drugstore Cowboy came before that with old Matt Dillon.
oh yeah,
And I've never seen his first film, which is in the Criterion Collection. One day, Malinoche. There we go. Probably. And I did like Drugstore Cowboy. It has that not Harmony Korine. Oh, fuck his name. Kids director, your favorite. Larry Clark. It's got Larry Clark.
Larry Clark.
It's got a Larry Clark quality to it that that's my style. And so My Own Private Idaho, it kind of fits into that space as well.
It's under the same umbrella.
Yeah. In a sense, in so many words. But I mean, so I watched this movie ages ago. This was like that sprint of like Jerry, Elephant, Last Days. There's a name for that trilogy.
The Bummer trilogy.
Yeah, the Bummer trilogy. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I was picking these movies up. I have an unwatched copy of Even Cowgirls Get the Blues and To Die For. I still have never wanted to watch his Psycho remake at all.
Oh, the Vince Vaughn one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
No, it sounds like a waste of time. But I've owned a copy of Paranoid Park for ages and never watched it because it just it just seems like another seems like also like a Larry Clark movie that I've already seen. And Milk's really good. Though I remember
Milk is good.
But again, I saw it once. And then there's his mainstream stuff.
What about Sea of Trees?
Well, we'll talk about the latter day stuff, which I've not seen. But then there's the stuff that like I think made him kind of a big deal in Hollywood to a degree that Gus Van Sant is a big deal in Hollywood. Good Will Hunting, and following that up with Finding Forrester.
I didn't realize he did Finding Forrester.
Oh, and he brought to our internet language, "You're the Man Now, Dog."
You're the Man Now, Dog. That's a good show. I like that show.
About J.D. Salinger. With the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Sean Connery is supposed to be, kind of.
I see. It's been when did this come out? 2000. So I watched this exactly 20 years ago when I was 10 years old, and I was like, good show. Good show.
It's so good. It's so moving.
Do you think it holds up?
I don't know. Like I said, I was never super crazy about these two movies of Gus Van Sant. And you know what? When I first watched My Own Private Idaho, I really wasn't much of a fan of it either.
Okay, so on your first watch?
Yeah, my first watch ages ago. I don't know. Whatever qualities I really liked about Drugstore Cowboy, it seemed to be very focused and had sort of like it is more like a Sid and Nancy type deal, RJ.
Sure.
But again, it's now very vague in my mind, but I actually really liked that movie way back when. And that's a movie that I don't think has actually come out on a decent DVD or Blu-ray. I think like my copy is like one of those artisan DVDs from ages ago that's in like letterboxed or maybe even full frame. I don't know. I haven't thought about it for a while until just now. My Own Private Idaho, I have this like expensive ass Criterion DVD of it. And I only ever really watched it once. I think I might have watched the special features back then when people had time to do that kind of thing. They weren't painting minifigs and watching King of the Hill like they do now.
Like you should be doing. They didn't have the finer things of life.
Like you should be doing. So I kind of looked forward to revisiting this and seeing how it held up or if it improved or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The movie opens up, RJ,
Mm-hmm.
with a blue background and the words Idaho.
Who's Idaho?
My own private Idaho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that what it's supposed to be?
I guess. I don't know.
Mm.
We get River Phoenix, who is one of these actors that I have no great affinity for at all.
You're not a River Phoenix man?
No, I'm not. I mean, he's just this guy that is positioned as this tragic figure because he died young. But for the most part, like, people always make a big deal. Oh, River Phoenix. I'm just like, sure.
Are you forgetting that he played young Indiana Jones in the intro to The Last Crusade? Are you forgetting about that performance?
Yeah, I
Jared?
guess so.
Did you know that the Phoenix kids, like River Phoenix and Joaquin Phoenix, did you know they were allowed to pick their own names? Their parents were like, when they were old enough, they're like, you pick whatever you want to be called.
Is that kind of like Lone Wolf and Cub, where the Lone Wolf puts the ball or the sword down on the mat and tells the cub to choose which path he wants to walk, one of destruction with his father or death to join his mother?
I mean, I wouldn't know,
Yeah. Well,
but you can tell me.
yeah. I mean, you haven't listened to that album?
Well, not recently.
Okay.
Not recently. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. But anyways, I just thought you should know that.
Okay,
River was allowed to pick his own name.
Huh. Did he roll over on top of it like a baby? This is like you say, and they like here's a picture, and it's like and this one picked a Joaquin.
I think it was like they had like a name for a couple years, but when they were like 6 or 7 or something like that, they're just like, all right, you be called whatever you want to be called.
Is that the best time to let a kid pick their name?
Probably not. Maybe it was a little older, but I know at some point in their early adolescence, they were allowed to pick their own.
Right.
Yeah. So, what about My Own Private River? Unused footage from Gus Van Sant's film.
Oh,
recontextualized
by
Gus Van Sant and James Franco.
Yeah, James Franco, the man who likes to insert himself into things, like his cruising project.
All right. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Private Idaho things here, but I was like, you know what? It wasn't on the channel. I couldn't watch any of these making ofs.
Everyone loves Jess Franco, right?
I mean, Jess Franco or James Franco?
James, but I like Jess Franco more.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, so this episode,
I
our episode opened up with us talking about Jared Leto, and I feel like James Franco kind of has that same energy.
Oh yeah, those dudes live in the same wheelhouse.
That's right.
But I mean, I would take James Franco over Jared Leto anytime.
Yeah, I think
for whatever that amounts to.
I feel like most would, but there is those things where he started when he wanted to be a director.
Mm.
And
just for Faulkner adaptation.
Oh, and Cormac McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
His Child of God film, which I have.
Better men have tried.
And yeah, we can't watch his like remix at all because I guess New Line says no.
Hey, you call me when there's a Topher Grace version of some Cormac McCarthy, then I'll pay attention.
Okay, his cut.
Yeah. Well, he
his Phantom edit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more on board with Topher Grace than this kind of these other things.
These fellas.
These other fellas. James Franco's fine.
So we're inundated in this movie next after we see with a man rambling on a prairie highway to a rabbit.
Is that what he's talking to?
Yeah. He's having a monologue with a rabbit. It feels very Shakespearean, some might say. That's
strange. I didn't think that there was any Shakespeare involved in the Criterion Collection at this point.
And then there's some, as I note here, scenic scenery. A lot of shots.
Is that an oxymoron?
No.
Is that a...
Maybe it's redundant. I don't know. Dreamy, beautiful, and then we get some country music. old timey, when country music was listenable.
Like the Soggy Bottom Boys?
Yeah, but solo acts.
Oh, Soggy Bottom.
Yeah.
Man,
soggy bottomed men.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
RJ, we live in this part of the world.
Which part?
This prairie world.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever sit back and think, yeah, sure is beautiful?
I mean, I don't think I've ever stopped thinking, man, it sure is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Heck, you don't live that far away from a nice view of the mountains yourself.
I mean, on a clear day,
day.
You can even see them right here. Right in the right part of town, you can see those mountains peeking over the horizon.
That's right.
Where's the horizon, Jarrett?
It's right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close. And then I think when this opened, we saw that like highway, and then I watched this with Andy, and she like looked up the filming locations, and like I don't think Idaho was even on there, and she's like, "What is this horse shit?" She's like, "Idaho's not even in here." I was like, maybe it's ironic, but that opening, because I know a lot of it's in Washington, Oregon, but that's close to us, right? We could drive there.
It is. Well, the problem is those goddamn mountains are in the way.
Just drive right through that fucking thing. Who gives a shit?
Just drive right over top of them.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Maybe even fly.
Well, how far would it be to fly to Oregon? It'd probably be like an hour or two is all.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, it would be a pretty quick flight.
Well, here to Seattle's only 2 hours, and that's like as. Hey, what were we talking about? Did we watch a movie?
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, so we get a whole bunch of like a montage of imagery.
Oh yeah.
Some might call it Malick-esque.
Who would say that?
I don't know. A guy.
An
internetsman.
Yeah.
Who's soggy bottomed. Then we transition to Seattle.
What happens there?
A blowjob. We see a blowjob happening. We see old River Phoenix getting his penis sucked by a big old man named Walt.
Is that good?
He's got a lot to give. A big old succulent warm mouth, RJ. And after River has like sort of like a extended sort of sequence of orgasm achievement, some $10 gets thrown at his chest, and Walt shambles off to the toilet.
What does he do there?
Have a sit. I'm not sure if he's having a shit, but he's having a sit.
Yeah.
River asks for another $10. Come on, man. He needs it. He's hungry, or someone needs a ride. His dad's sick, and Walt's like, "Oh, okay." You all know a guy like Walt, right? We've all been there.
Excuse me. Could you restate? We what?
We've all been there. We all know a guy like Walt.
Oh, okay. Good. Continue.
All right. I mean, we know this guy.
Sure.
We all see a little bit of ourselves in him. So Mike Waters, which is like
a real name,
like a river, Phoenix.
Wow.
Reborn, ashes, fire, water. Think about it.
What about Earth?
This is what happens when you let your kids pick their name.
Which one is Earth?
I don't know what Joaquin means.
I think what Keen means hot dog. In like Lebanese or something. Something like that.
Yeah.
Joaquin? Maybe it's just a sound. Maybe he just like made a sound. And they're like, Joaquin.
Yoakum.
That sounds good.
Yoakum.
Yoakum?
That doesn't help.
Joaquin.
So, I don't know, RJ. One thing that is of interest I'll mention is it seems like a lot of stories that take place in Seattle or Portland, the sex trade comes up a lot. And
is it big there, or what do you think?
I guess it would be, because I know like Vancouver, which is like just right near there. It comes up there as well. Very famed. What is it? Hastings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, comes up
You
quite a
don't
bit.
you don't want to be down there after dark, allegedly.
You know, I remember walking in Vancouver and stumbling across what turned out to be East Hastings, and that's where some of the cool stores were down there. Old vintage bookstores, and then there was like, hey, there's a porn theater when I was down there.
Did you check it out?
No, I saw some people, some types, kind of coming in and out of there, and I was like, So yeah, the Fox Cinema Theater, whatever it's called, no more. Unfortunate. But I imagine that, like, yeah, the dark side of the sex trade stuff is that it preys upon the young and homeless, and what's one of the nicer places you could be is on the West Coast. So there's a whole lot of that. That's like where it's going to be, I guess.
Where else would it be, do you think?
Everywhere, really, but I think it seems like there's a concentration of it. There was like I'm trying to remember the name of the comic I read very recently. It was about a trans woman, and Remy, something like that, and she did a comic as herself as a furry. And
Remy LeBou?
Maybe it could be.
Wait, what's Gambit's name?
Gambit?
Yeah, of the X-Men. Is it Remy LeBou? Remy LeBou? Yeah, that's Gambit.
That's Gambit.
Remy LeBou. So is Gambit the trans woman?
No.
Did the trans woman have a Cajun accent though?
No, they were just in Seattle. There was no Bill from King of the Hill.
Well, I mean, I'm less interested, but I'll still give you the time to discuss it.
Okay.
I'm less interested, but you still have my attention. So tell me more about this comic book of Remy.
Well, I'm trying to find the goddamn title of it, and it's not working out very well for me. Well, there it is. It's actually RJ. I can't believe I couldn't remember it. The title of this, by Remy Boydell, is The Pervert.
Oh, is that a... I would have said... I thought that was the title of your biography.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got you.
But anyway, maybe our dear listeners from the Northwest Coast could tell us more on their observations of this. Because it seems like in movies or in fiction that I just like stumble across, it comes up often. It's like, what's up with that?
I don't know, man. You're asking the wrong dude.
So this movie belongs to the scummy sublime.
I guess. I honestly don't think this movie feels too greasy, to be very honest.
There's moments though.
There's moments.
And that like hotel complex, apartment complex that everyone's living in.
Yeah, there's some grease there.
It's kind of like that Fisher King stuff.
I haven't seen Fisher King, but it's in the collection.
It is.
So one day.
Yeah, it's kind of the same idea. This, yeah, very much 90s depiction of homelessness. What's the one Without Honors comes to mind?
Without Honors?
Yeah. With Honors?
This is above my pay grade, buddy.
From 1994. I'm thinking of With Honors. Oh, yeah, With Honors with Joe Pesci and Brendan Fraser. Encino Man himself.
Hey, anything with Encino Man, you got my attention.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like America really was in love with homeless people in the 90s because it had Home Alone.
But only in film
right. We don't want
not
to
in real life.
We don't want to do anything about it. But
yeah, let's make some movies though.
Let's make some movies. Let's tell stories.
Magic, Jarrett. Celebrity.
Yeah. Down and Out in Beverly Hills. We'll be watching the original version of that soon enough as well, from our good friend Jean Renoir.
Enough.
Good.
Call
time.
John Criterion and tell him enough.
Enough.
Right.
And hey, buddy, we're good here.
Enough.
We get Shoe Man.
Yeah, there's Shoe Man.
We get Faster, Little Dutch Boy. Harder.
Oh, that's Carol.
No.
Daddy Carol.
No.
Yeah, I got a good screen cap of him. I like his red hair. Mm-hmm. I like how he dances too.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that whole sequence. I just was like,
You go, uh-huh.
It's just, I don't, yeah.
I just liked how that guy's hair was crazy, but yeah.
Laura Palmer's mom shows up.
Mm-hmm. Is she yelling?
No. She's just the, sexy older woman with voracious appetites. She needs the service of not one, not two, but three young men.
Not unlike you. On a good day.
Yeah, that's right. And this is where we get introduced to Keanu Reeves' character.
Yes, we do. What's his deal?
He's slumming it. He's the rich kid. His dad's the mayor.
Whoa, that sounds fun.
Yeah, but he's like, nah, fuck you, Dad. I'm not playing by your rules. I'm gonna walk around with my shirt open without a shirt underneath, so it's just bare chest and a choker.
Have you ever worn a choker like in the 90s?
No. How about you? RJ, did you wear mesh shirts?
I mean, I have a mesh shirt now. I have a crop top that's half mesh
and a house coat.
Well, yeah, you don't wear one without the other.
Yeah.
What are you, dumb?
Mm-hmm.
It goes hand in hand, friend.
My note here is Keanu soliloquying. So this is probably after the scene where River's character is like being brought up to the bedroom with Grace Zabriskie, I think is her name. And then he has his narcoleptic fit. And you kind of forget about that because we get a definition of narcolepsy. That's the first thing we actually see in the movie is the definition of narcolepsy from a dictionary. And you're like, oh, is he having a drug overdose? No, he's just a narcoleptic. And then she's like, oh, fuck. And then they get sent away and they have to drag him out and let him lay in a grassy field out in the rich area. And Keanu talks. Mm-hmm. He acts.
Is it in the John Lovitz category?
No, because John Lovitz has like affectation.
Acting.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. So I was watching this with Andy, and she's like, "Could they have gotten two like worse people to read off of each other?" Because she's like, she thought River Phoenix, like she's like, he's good. He seems like genuinely like. Or she thought like he sounded like a real person, like he had stilted kind of dialogue. He's like, that's how people talk. But she's like, when Keanu Reeves was talking, she's like, how come he's famous? And I was like, I don't know, man.
Charisma.
Right place, right time.
He's got charisma.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's that's like the thing that gets played out quite a bit is whether or not he can act or not. And for a very long time, and then like it seems like John Wick really turned things around for him.
But that's more like, I know like that's physical acting. It's not like he doesn't like have a lot of lines.
No,
right?
but he's like an actor, but he's like okay for, I mean, when you have a charismatic person that's like also in shape, it's like, well, you can train you to do some martial arts and stuff. He did the Matrix things, kept putting him on the map. He kept like being in these movies that define generations, like Bill and Ted, Matrix. True. And now like, I mean, John Wick is kind of like a big deal for a big segment of people. Like it's one of those movies that people like, oh, I'm gonna watch a really cool action movie, and they fucking watch John Wick.
Yep. I would take the Matrix over John Wick, but that's just me.
Yeah, but now see, this is the thing right now. There's people who are like, oh, Matrix is old. Like it's old, even though I mean it's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure that movie actually holds up really well, like visually. And but I don't know, maybe I should rewatch that someday.
Like tonight?
No. Like never.
When the new one comes out?
Never. So apparently, there's a big thing about like Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix. They both were like, they made a handshake deal about doing the movie because they were afraid, because this is how Hollywood apparently works, or this movie making business works, because this isn't exactly a big thing. But based on the success of Drugstore Cowboy, Gus Van Sant kept turning these into more and more successes. And there's like, let's get some big stars, some names, Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix. And they went, I'll be in it if you do it. I'll be in it if you do it. Okay.
I mean, that's how our podcast got started too, but you don't hear us bragging about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't want to be for the rest of our lives identified as podcasters either.
well, maybe characters for podcasts, but not podcasters. Like not like that.
Right. So at some point I wrote down remembering reflecting skin.
Like which one? Which reflecting skin? The vampire one?
Yeah, the in quotes vampire one.
Fuck, that movie's bad. I don't get that movie at all. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why people like that thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's really nice looking.
I don't get it.
It's pretty easy to get. I mean, you can't not acknowledge how pretty of a movie that is.
I mean, it looks fine, yeah.
It looks pretty good.
I mean, it looks fine, yeah.
But anyway, there's that the scenery of this movie reminds me of Reflecting Skin.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And
yeah,
and again, listless movie.
It's just kind of there.
It just plays itself out, I guess, over time. It's like, where's this? Something about his mom, him being held by womanly figures and seeing women crossing the streets in a pursuit of his mom. It's like, okay.
In Reflecting Skin? Or
no,
in
My Own Private Idaho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. That movie is about parents as well, but
it is also about the absence of a mother.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
But with Vigo
as the mother.
Yeah.
Who would you have cast as the mother in My Own Private Idaho?
I don't care.
Probably. Who's that actress that I didn't know was hated? The one from Michael and Groundhog Day. Andie MacDowell.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's who I would have put in here.
Big money there.
Yep.
Then we get, I guess, one of the more memorable kind of scenes in the movie: magazine covers, where we go.
Yeah.
We're going to the sex toy store.
Sure.
And we get like these shots of all these gay magazines, gay porno magazines, and then they're doing this tricksy little thing where they have like live footage with the font of the magazine over top, and it's like living magazines. And then one of those is Keanu, who also starts talking and giving his backstory. It's, I'm sure people would find very funny in 1991, ahead of its time.
And the magazine was called Mail Call, which is not unlike our mail call at the start of our episodes.
It's true.
Our female calls as well, for that matter.
Very different then.
Would you describe this as Deadpool-esque?
I mean, Keanu Reeves and Ryan Reynolds are both Canadian.
It's true.
Seattle's pretty close to Canada, so why not?
I was always confused.
Are you when you say Deadpool-esque, are you saying is it irreverent?
Is it breaking the fourth wall, man? Are they talking to you, the audience?
Yeah, of course. Just like a Shakespearean play.
So do you think that My Own Private Idaho got it from Deadpool? Deadpool 2?
Well, I think Shakespeare got it from Deadpool.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah. We got Udo. He rolls up. And he wants a little bit of that River. He wants to hang out with River.
Yeah, he's not asking much. He just says, let's hang out.
River Mike, he's like, nah, this guy's a pervert, I can tell. That's a quote.
Yeah.
And then he has a narcoleptic fit and he wakes up in Portland with Keanu.
A very tender scene. They're holding each other. It's nice.
Yes. They're so lonely. Then we get introduced to Bob. A Bob like all Bobs we know.
The fat like butter Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, fat like butter.
The king of Portland.
The king of the whores.
Yeah.
I think is what someone says.
And we're introduced to Flea.
Yep.
And to Squalor. And this kind of was like a half hour of hanging out.
Doing Shakespeare stuff.
And then doing like stuff about like Keanu's dad's looking for him and he's in a wheelchair. We get the backstory of Scott. And then they raid the place, and then there's like, we get the sense that nothing happened. Like Keanu Reeves, there's no problems for this character. He can go back anytime he wants, and he's just there. but it doesn't even feel like there's a drive toward that story. It just kind of happens, and you're like, okay, what am I watching this? What's going on in this here movie? And then they leave town. They go out to Idaho. And there's some bullshit with Mike's brother.
Yeah, who is there he's there when they needed him. Keanu found him without knowing who he was. Yeah. But he found him.
It happened. It happened, folks.
Somehow he found them.
No, it's a diversion, and there's more narcolepsy, and more Keanu Reeves doing stuff. Udo comes back.
Yes, he does.
That's cool. And then we jump over to Italy.
Yeah, just for a casual stroll.
We go to Roma because it's like, well, maybe mom's here or something. I don't know.
I think that is literally there was a postcard that was like, I live in Roma now, and it was like, I guess we're going there
to Netflix.
Well, to Criterion, friend.
That's right. And then this like Roma sequence and like Keanu Reeves hanging out with Bike Girl. This like what it kind of also remind me of With Nail and I, where it's like, oh, it's like this, like it's a buddy movie, and then they kind of go to the countryside, but not like good like With Nail and I.
Not the way you'd think.
No. And then we go back to Portland. We get the debut of the Simpsons in the Criterion Collection, I believe.
Yes, we do. You know? Yes, we do.
While watching a Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, the alien, the Let Us Cook for You alien episode.
Yeah. How to eat humans.
That's a good cane. Is that a cane or Kodo?
Cane.
Cane? Yeah. You don't want to try to do the Kodo, so you just embarrass yourself.
Yeah. And then so River and Keanu, they go separate ways, and Keanu goes back to his old life and pretends he's like, I don't know anybody in my old life. Fuck you, Bob. Bob, you can die.
Nobody cares, Bob.
In case, dear listeners, you can't tell, I'm pretty still indifferent to this movie.
Sounds like you like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Like a lot.
A lot. Yeah. I don't know. I just, there is not anything that I find that appealing. I mean, it's like it's been a nice break of a movie, though, watching something contemporary after watching a lot of grandpa movies, foreign grandpa movies,
black and white subtitled movies.
Yeah, watching something in
Jean Renoir movies.
Oh boy. So this is oh cool, it's contemporary American. And it's like, if this wasn't in the Criterion Collection, it would just be one of those movies that I would probably not even care if I finished watching it or not.
I don't think anyone would care about it if it wasn't in the Criterion.
Or Gus Van Sant and part of his filmography. It would just be one of those like footnotes in American independent movies that's got these two actors in it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have too much more to add. Other than my general kind of like, it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm sure it's got its fans, but I'm not one of them. How about you, RJ?
Well, Jarrett, this movie popped on my radar 5-6 years ago. Living with roommate Scott, we were buying those Criterions. We'd go in on the sale together to save on shipping and all that. And I remember he bought this and he was pretty excited. Because at the time, we were both like Gus Van Sant Sant heads. We're like, yeah, we like that Gus. And this was, if it was going to be a movie for anyone, it would have been for roommate Scott. And then I remember he watched it, and then the next day I was like, how was My Own Private Idaho? And he's like, you know what? I didn't really like it. And I should have, because it checks a lot of my boxes, but I just didn't dig it. And I've held on to that for 6 years.
I know. I think you've mentioned it on the show.
I have mentioned it.
Yeah.
I've told you, Jared, I don't forget things. I'm very petty. Even though this isn't a petty situation, but I don't forget things, especially little things. So I was always just like, I always remember that movie didn't impress Scott. And if it was going to impress anyone, it would have impressed him. And then when I went into this, I was watching it with Andy, and I was like, Gus Van Sant, more or less, I'm on board with him. I like Good Will Hunting quite a bit. I really like Elephant. Milk's good. I just watched that Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot, and that's an okay movie.
Latter day, the latter days of Gus Van Sant have not been very kind.
Different.
What's the Forest movie? And that
Sea of Trees.
Yeah, everybody was making.
It had a 0%.
Yeah, everybody was making Suicide Forest movies all of a sudden, and his had the biggest stars.
The biggest stars. But I remember it had a 0% when it came out, and people were like, "Oof,
no one likes you."
But so I was watching, and then I was like, before I was like, I think Gus Van Sant's pretty good. Through the course of my own private Idaho, I was like, you know what? Maybe Gus Van Sant isn't a good director. Maybe he's only ever had the scripts to back him up, because like in this movie at least, I don't think there's anything. There's nothing really that stands out to me. I'm like, I don't care for the script or story. I don't think there's anything interesting about the directing or the filming of this. Like, not that really matters, but I was just like, I don't know if Gus Van Sant is like actually a good director or not. I don't know anymore. But no, I am not very into this movie.
No.
So I started watching with Andy, and we like watched a little bit, and we're like, okay. And then it gets into Shakespeare stuff, and like I had seen that it was like loosely Henry IV or whatever, but I forgot to tell Andrea that. And so they started talking, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" She's like, "Why are they talking like this?" And I was like, "I don't know." And like it was like 10 minutes into these like all these big soliloquies, and then I was like, oh my god, I was like, I remember, I was like, it's somewhat loosely based on a Shakespeare or Henry story. And Andrew's like,
you son of a bitch.
He's like, well, she was just like, she's like, that doesn't even make it better for me. She's like, I still don't like that it's in here. And I was like, yeah, I was like, that's fine. I don't mind some of the story. Like I don't mind like the heart of the story. I think the Shakespeare stuff is silly.
Yeah,
it's like,
so he apparently wrote initially, like his idea for this movie at one point, like in the 70s when he wrote this, was about gay street hustlers, and he was going to write that story. And then he read a book called City in the Night or something like that from like 1963. He read this novel which was about the exact same thing he was writing about, and he went, oh, I couldn't make anything better than this. And so he shelved it, and he dropped it for like 10 years. But then he came back to it, started reworking it, and then it feels like such a art school thing to be like, let's like do that, but let's do Shakespeare on my story, because that'll add authenticity. Let's talk about iambic pentameter.
Fuck. So yeah, and like exactly, and like that's exactly what you'd think. It'd be like, this is some person who thinks they're showier than they actually are, and they're like, we're gonna throw some Shakespeare on that. We're gonna spice this shit up.
City of Night by John Ritchie, which I mean, and I feel like the bar of the street hustler film for me is Midnight Cowboy. I think that movie is fantastic, one of my favorites. And I was like, I'd rather watch that all the time. This, I don't know. I do not like Gus Van Sant's approach to the material at all, because it's like the stylization, the elliptical filmmaking. I don't even know if I would call it that, really. Not really. It doesn't feel that way, because it feels pretty chronological, and then there's just like the scenic scenery that like punctuates things, and you're just like, okay, sure, but like let's get to why I should care about any of it, and that never happens. No.
What about the Midnight Cowboy episode of Futurama where Zap Brannigan pimps out Kiff?
Yeah, what about it? It's incredible.
Incredible.
When I saw that episode, I had already been a big Midnight Cowboy fan. And so when I saw that in Futurama, I went, holy fuck, this is one of the best things I've ever seen.
He said it's all coming together.
It's a film reference to something I've seen. I'm living in the now. It's not like watching Simpsons and then watching the movies after the fact. It's like watching a movie and then getting the joke. It's like actually being able to experience the joke live. What a beautiful thing.
because I grew up with Simpsons, and then I saw movies afterwards, and then the Simpson joke I've been saying to other people for years, I was like, I actually understand what that is now.
I guess like
Not just meaningless things.
I guess I would say that probably the first time that was happening for me was when I was watching The Critic with John Lovitz as Jay Sherman, because they were doing jokes with like Jurassic Park and like whatever like the new movie of the time was. I'd be like, I've seen that. I know.
You're like, I understand this reference.
Yeah, and that makes me feel smart.
Yep.
Now I'm a big Family Guy fan or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because now that's everything. Everything
that works.
It's all everything is now is references to other things. And it's not so special. But at one point, it felt a little special. It'd be like reading a Mad magazine, I guess, and being like, I saw that movie.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I understand that. That's a 17th century French poem.
Reading like a I don't know, one of those like Mad magazine annuals, like from like '97, and it has like a Goodfellas parody, and you're like, I've never seen Goodfellas. Like I
don't get it.
I'm 13.
You are 13.
I am 13. Well, when I thought Goodfellas was a horror movie.
I mean, it kind of is.
It looks
horror of crime.
It looks scary. It's like these really severe men.
It does. Ray Liotta is a severe man.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta.
Telling you.
Anyways, yeah, I like the idea of the men on the street. I think that's really interesting. But I think he really overshoots. The Shakespeare stuff, I think, is super silly. Because they only do it for about half an hour and then they abandon it, right? And I was like, why was it even in here at all then, if that's what you're planning on doing?
Because he wanted to make that movie for a bit.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, when they were in this community, in this when they were in this place together, all these men, they were living the Shakespeare life.
Who's this third guy here?
Panos Cosmatios is here.
Oh, what? Well, he's from the Northwest Coast. He could tell you all about that. Oh, I thought that was Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher? It might have been. I just feel like that's what the conversations were like when they're like, we're going to have a 30-minute Shakespeare session in the middle of this movie. And you go, okay.
See, honestly, that stuff didn't even bother me. Like, I didn't even read it.
It didn't bother me watching it.
I just
talking about it now.
I just viewed it as this, like, it's like the Bob figure. The guy who's like this gregarious asshole who's like really into the theater, and he's lost and he's like rambling, and everyone like hangs out with him because he has the influence. He has the influence, and he makes them all want to hang out and be like Shakespearean and feel like they're loftier than they are, because there's like the cultural cachet that comes with Shakespeare, and one who says that they understand it or attaches themselves to it, they can be like, I have cultural capital now. People should respect me and listen to me because I can recite things, because I can read, by Jove. And so, yeah, I just felt that's how I read it. And, like, I didn't even, like, honestly think about Shakespeare at all. I was just more thinking about my boredom.
Yeah. No,
because I was just like, this isn't working for me.
I think that's actually, like, the way you put it, it does make sense. Like, I get that. It didn't bother me watching it either. It's just thinking back to it now, and I was just like, why did they include that? Like, and I get it. It's like Bob has the influence. He's the father figure to all of them, so they all like idolize him and they all try to be him. But at the same time, I was like, eh.
Yeah, because you use that thing because he's like they're going to have a heist, like so they're kind of like a den of thieves, but like we're loftier than that.
Yeah, and they all somehow, even though they have no money, they all somehow manage to get matching pink robes together, house coats.
Wow. Sure. They may have found like a case that fell off the back of a truck, and they were like, they wouldn't necessarily pick pink, but that's what they got.
That's what they got.
So you justify it and you explain it. That's what we wanted all along.
And see, and that's fine, but like, yeah, I think the addition of that is too much, and then even the narcolepsy thing, it's like, I feel like this is. I don't think he uses it right. Like, I mean, I don't know how else he use it, but it's like for me, I was like, it doesn't really fit with this story that as much as I feel like it should. So I didn't love that aspect of it. I don't know, like there are some good things in this movie, but like as a whole. Andrea she pretty much almost tapped out at 50 minutes. She's like, how much is left? I was like 40 minutes, and she's like, holy fuck. She's like, I don't want to watch that. But then she's like, I got nothing else to do. I'll just finish it, I guess. It's like, all right. But I was kind of with her. I was just like, yeah. I was like, I'm just not interested in this. I don't care. So there are some good things to it, but on the whole, I was like, ugh. Too much of this, too much of that. River Phoenix isn't bad. Keanu Reeves pretty stilted. I did like when Udo was on.
Oh, of course.
Udo was the best part.
Well, I mean, sure. if you were in a movie theater and you saw Udo Kier on the screen, you'd just be Udo.
Yeah, like that movie that we were both totally gonna go to one time.
You mean like, or when we talked about it on the podcast, Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula.
Udo.
I remember that. Remember the good? Those were the good times.
It was like 3 weeks in almost, a little bit more. But yeah, I liked Udo, and I thought it was pretty rude that Keanu would turn off his radio. He was in the middle of his performance.
Mm-hmm.
I found that was pretty rude. Rude.
Not nice.
Not nice. So yeah. Anyways, I'm not a huge fan of My Own Private Idaho. At a certain point, I went, who cares?
No.
You know, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's one of his better movies. I think he's made good ones, and I don't think this is a great one. But it's this and his first movie that are in the collection, and that's what we're stuck with. In fact, I thought Milk was in there, but no, it's the documentary on Harvey Milk.
That's probably better, anyways.
Yeah,
possibly.
What, you got a problem with Sean Penn?
Do I have a problem with Sean Penn?
Yeah. He'll punch you.
Have you ever seen I Am Sam?
I have not.
You should check it out.
Yeah. Watch that in radio.
You should watch that in radio. And then, hey, you know what's on Disney Plus now? The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville. Do you remember that film?
I do.
That's now on Disney.
Hey, did you hear that Bam has been cut out of Jackass 4?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
What's that all about?
I don't know. You know these Hollywood hotshots.
I mean, I know some of them, yeah.
You know, guys drinking each other's ball sweat. I mean, it gets to their head.
In what sense?
I don't know.
Oh. So you're a big fan of this movie, is what you're saying?
Yes.
What would you watch first? My Own Private Idaho or Ingmar Bergman Makes a Movie?
Holy man.
What would you rather, if you were given a choice right now, which one, you had to watch one of them?
I would watch this.
Over Ingmar Bergman Makes a Movie?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
It's tough, but yes. That's my...
What about My Own Private Idaho? Or, now get this, Jarrett. I Know Where I'm Going.
Oh, man. Well, I've seen this movie twice, and I've only seen I Know Where I'm Going once.
Okay, that's your answer.
That's
your answer.
That's about
Last one. My Own Private Idaho or Pepe Le Shit?
Same answer. I've seen this movie twice, and I've only seen Pepe Le Shit once.
Good.
Oh God, this is our life now.
Relating things.
We see
on
the
a scale.
we see the good, we see the bad. But I don't know if are the randos on the YouTube. They don't get it. They don't understand how we could possibly dislike something. But it's like, because we're watching it in a way that I don't think it was meant to be. It's not meant to be watched this way. But
they shouldn't have organized it that way.
Exactly. Then. I mean, for cases like ourselves, it's like, you have numbers on your spines. I have to watch them in this order. There's no other way. But imagine like actually having watched these in this order, like, and this is how you actually watch movies without any film context. Like, this is like, okay, well, I don't know anything about these movies here, but I'll check this out. This Grand Illusion by Jean Renoir.
See, the way I imagine it, think of the Criterion as like a magazine subscription you would have gotten in the 80s, where like Reader's Digest.
No.
So Criterion's like movie digest. It's like once a month you're gonna get a movie. This month it's My Own Private Idaho.
But see, this is the thing, right? Is when you start a subscription, you don't start at issue 1. You start with the one that's like from that month, and then you just go forward.
But what if you started on the ground floor?
Well, that would be different. And then because we would have started watching these in like the 90s.
But I mean, essentially, it's the same for us almost.
Almost.
We started at number 1.
We did, but in the 21st century.
But imagine a dude sitting at home. Let's call him Gary. Gary's never seen movies before.
Big Gary.
And Gary was like, you know what? I kind of want to get into movies. I heard that they're starting this new thing next month called the Criterion Collection. And if you sign up, you can get a movie a month. I'm going to do that.
Kind of like the channel, but there's no spine numbers there.
Yeah, kind of like the channel, but there's no spine numbers, which is infuriating. But what you could do is Gary signs up, and he's like, all right, once a month they send him a movie. And the first one's Grand Illusion.
Every
he
week.
Checks it out.
Every week.
Yeah, so he watches one a week, and he's like, Grand Illusion.
And when there's a box set, they send you all of them. You have to watch them in a week. Or they send guys.
But it's the only time in the week that Gary watches television, movies, and
DS9.
And DS9.
Because it's the 90s.
Yep. And that's just how he consumes this. So if Criterion didn't want people to do this, they shouldn't have done it like that.
I feel like Gary, though, wouldn't have opinions, though. He'd be like, yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, that's all.
And then every week he forgets what he watched the week before. And he'll go, that was pretty cool. But he'll be like, oh, fuck yeah, RoboCop, man. Or he'll go, oh, I forgot that Silence of the Lambs was in the collection.
I mean, he would 100% be like that.
Yeah.
Gary or even Guy, like Guy Ruth3 or something like that.
I think Gary
like,
would be a big
general.
Gary would be a big rock fan.
Yeah, Gary'd be on the rock. He'd be like, that was a good one. That one really that one stung a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I cried at the end of Armageddon.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, he probably wouldn't care, but he would consume them in that way. So it's like if Criterion didn't want people to do this.
When would he cancel his subscription? That's the question. Like the Gary count. Like when Gary cancel? Has Gary? How long ago did he?
He's long canceled.
Yeah, you think? Okay.
Yeah, if I was Gary.
Okay, well, see, this is the thing, right? There's the point where Gary cancels, but there's the point where Gary the movies they just start piling up, and he's not watching them anymore.
I mean, if he's still watching, I think one of the honest canceling points would be like Henry V or Element of Crime. He would have just been like, I'm not into these anymore. And if not those two, definitely something like Dog Star Man or Schizopolis. Gary would be like, I don't know, you guys. Like, I thought these were fun movies. I don't know what this stuff is.
Yeah.
You know?
I respect the right to exist. These movies.
Yeah. I like they're in the collection for a reason. They obviously have prestige. I'm not going to rate them lower than 5 out of 5 stars. That's how Criterion works.
But sometimes I give a 4. And then sometimes there's a 3. And then there's a 1.
There's a few ones in there. One of the ones was Seventh Samurai.
No.
He
He'd
get it.
Nah, he'd be fine with that. He'd be more. I think it'd be like maybe With Nail and I. I think he might. He doesn't like British things.
With Nail and I is a 1.
Unless it's Alfred Hitchcock, because he makes good ones.
Yeah, that one would work. He'd be like With Nail 1.
Didn't like Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs, I don't get it.
I don't like that. I don't like that kind of movie. He definitely didn't like George Washington.
George Washington. I don't know why the dog rapes a guy in that movie. It seems like a weird thing to put into your film.
He wouldn't even get. He would have missed that part.
He wouldn't got there. He's like, I don't know what these guys are complaining about. They all have houses. That's pretty good.
Yeah. What do you think he thought about Ratcatcher?
I don't know why there's.
I don't understand what they're saying.
This little kid has big ears and they're too big, I guess. It's Gary. He's a new character for the podcast.
Gary. Well, you gotta do some work, some character work with Gary.
Yeah, we'll work on it. We're working on it. But yeah, the bottom line, I didn't get much out of this. I think there's a few good things, but at the same, I do not want to watch this again. If someone had it on, they're like, I have my own private Idaho on. I'd be like, can you change it
See you later.
to something else?
Yeah.
And it's like, you keep watching. I'll come back. I'll come back in an hour.
Yeah, this one it definitely has the vibe of I never want to see this again.
Yeah, for me too. There's other movies I would watch again, not this one.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know what it is. It's just I feel like it's all there. I'm done. I'm over. Because even like our lowest rated movies, man, Magic Flute though, fuck.
Magic Flute's
it's got those sweet the costumes are cool. It looks good at times, but man, oh man, is that a chore. What
about Gertrude? Remember Gertrude?
Yeah, I remember Gertrude.
What about, would you watch The Unbearable Lightness of Being again?
No. No. That's actually got the exact same vibe as this in some ways.
It does, yeah. You know, it's a movie I never, ever want to watch again. Coup de Torchon. Remember that one, Jared?
No, what one?
Coup de Torchon. Who directed?
I know what you're talking about.
It had that really greasy guy who was like raping people, and he's like, "I am the protagonist." Oh. Okay, wait, where is it? Coup de Torchon. From Bernard Tavernier.
Yeah,
In French West Africa, Lucien is
right. Fuck. Cool. Okay. I kept thinking QU.
No, coup.
Coup de Torchon. Yeah, okay. That movie. Yeah, that's a 2.5 for me.
I would never want to watch that again, ever.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, this is all kind of, these all would be on the same shelf.
Oh yeah, they're in the Criterion, sure, but they're not movies we like. They're not movies we want to watch at any time.
Yeah.
Can I borrow this movie? You can, but I wouldn't. It's not very good.
Boy, oh boy. I know on YouTube someone called us crazy for not liking The White Shake.
Oh, who gives a shit about that movie?
Exactly.
Someone on YouTube said, "Why would you review a movie that you don't like?" And it's like, what? It's like, do you understand what the concept of a review is? It's like you don't like every movie you watch. Like, what are you talking about?
At least you don't have crazy people like video game reviewer commenters. Holy fuck!
Or are they pretty bad?
They're always the dumbest human beings in the world. This guy, don't listen to anything he says. He gave Super Mario a 7.6, even though he gave the other version of it a 9.2. Asshole.
Is this also Gary?
This is
or Gary's cousin,
Steven.
Steven?
Yeah.
My name is Steven, and I'm going to talk to you about video game rating reviews tonight.
Steven and Gary.
I'm also a big fan of Mandy, the film. Panos Cosmedios. He talks like that. Look into it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyways, do you want to hear about who hates this film?
What? Sure. What? Gary stopped. No, Gary never got this far. Or maybe we should do like who likes this movie. Let's be let's be positive.
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
Who 5-starred this son of a bitch?
Oh, lots of people.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Oh my God.
Reviews.
I just saw the first one.
What? J.K. Donaldson?
Yep.
I love this on so many levels, but mostly because Gus Van Sant ending a movie with "Have a nice day" written in Helvetica on a PowerPoint slide is just the biggest movie fuck you I've ever experienced. Yeesh.
Isn't that what you want in a movie? Is a real fuck you to the audience and to cinema in general? Hey Jarrett, this person, other 5-star films include Night of the Hunter.
Hey, they just watched My Own Private Idaho.
They did? And La Ventura.
That 3.5 stars.
3.5 star. Oh, that's just recent activity. Well, Night of the Hunter. And hey, there's some decent films in here, but Jennifer's Body, that's kind of strange. Booksmart, 5 stars. I don't know. This person seems like they're just starting out on Letterboxd, so
Okay.
not much here, but they gave Midsommar 4 stars.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't, but whatever.
People like these movies.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And I guess if, good for them.
Good for them.
Good. I'm glad people are finding things that they like in their life. How about Melanie? 5 stars.
About her.
This has basically been on my watch list since middle school, and I only just now got around to it, which is a crime. I don't know if I would have appreciated it as much if I had seen it then, but I do wonder if I would have come out sooner, to myself especially, if I had seen it earlier in my life. The whole feeling of queerness explored here was so dreamy and beautiful and sad. I wish River and Keanu had been in 1,000 more gay movies together. Their chemistry and performances were so moving.
People can't talk about Keanu Reeves having chemistry. He doesn't. Yeah. Keanu Reeves just exists. This person watched My Own Private Idaho yesterday.
God.
Yesterday, Jared.
Yeah, all these 5-star movies all these 5-star reviews are from like the last week. Like all of them. Maybe are they all? Is this an entire group of people watching the movie? Like, I can't wait to listen to the Criterion Creeps. Oh, then there's like, you look at these people. Me cried gay. Made me suicidal. This is yet another movie that I wanted to watch for ages, but I have no idea why I waited this long, and this is the worst thing I ever did. I absolutely love this, and it truly was a wonderful experience that I wish I watched before. It is such a gorgeous and beautiful movie that have a very unique direction with excellent cinematography and visuals. The scene around the campfire is amazing, and I truly loved every moment of it. It was a marvel to look at. The story is fascinating and interesting, and a great exploration about finding oneself. And finally, the performances by the two leads are amazing. Keeney and River are great, especially River Phoenix, who is just phenomenal here, and I truly loved his performance. It's a stunning, sensitive, poignant, and beautiful one.
I mean that's pretty articulate about what they like. I just don't really agree I don't think Keanu Reeves has good chemistry with.
This is
I don't buy that.
This has got that a lot of letterboxedness to. The 5-star, I love this. It's perfect, even though it's like, well, maybe not.
Well, that last person,
yeah.
That last person also gave Midsommar 5 stars.
See, Letterboxd, man.
And this person, Haunting of Hill House, which is a TV show, 5 stars. Watchmen, the TV show, 5 stars. Chernobyl, the TV show, 5 stars. Which, I agree with, but. Saint Maud 5 stars. It's like that movie just came out, like relax.
It's amazing. Like, we live in the greatest time to be alive when everything's 5 stars.
Everything's 5 stars. They gave Roma 5 stars. You know about that. They gave The Lone Ranger a half a star. I've seen that movie. That is not a half-star movie. That movie's not bad.
Oh, here. So I feeling this a little too happy sappy here. This positivity. On the half-star scale, we got Vicky. This was painfully boring to watch. I spent most of the movie wanting to go take a nap. It's just hella dumb and boring. I even used to be a fucking gay boy, and I've done sex work and have cataplexy, a rare offshoot of narcolepsy, and this movie still failed to ever get my attention. Fuck this gay-ass film.
What?
Yep.
That's one of the wilder ones we've had in a very long time, I think, Jarrett. Wild. This person gave Manchester by the Sea a half a star.
Hey, I like it, even though it's not a half-star movie, no. But it's yeah.
Yep. 5-star films or favorite films. Sorry, not 5, but favorite films include Gangs of Wasseypur Part 2, The Holy Mountain by Jodorowsky, Wild at Heart, and Love Exposure, one of Jarrett's hot recommendations.
Yeah.
Big anime person, this Vicky. Also, as well. But interesting. Interesting taste, Jarrett.
No.
Interesting.
Let's see here. What else we got here? Well, they just watched Punishment Part 2. That's a good one. There's someone who's using the high and low image, that is the worst movie I've seen in a while.
Their name is a glyph.
It is Arabic. So
Arabic?
I can't read it. I can't.
You can't read it, you guys. But let's call him Gary.
You know what? In English, it's Ryan.
Yeah, so Gary. I mean, I don't know. There's not much interesting stuff here. 2001, High and Low, Paris, Texas. Oh, but they gave a half a star to Hausu. Which seems... So their other half-star films were My Own Private Idaho, A Bill and Ted, some of the new Star Wars movies, and then, hey, check this out, Texas Chainsaw 2. They gave a half a star. Wow. So,
hey, you know what? Bill and Ted, I am not a fan at all of.
You've mentioned that before, and I'm not going to stand up for them. I think that's fine. You can dislike them. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't mind those movies when I watched them, but that was a long time ago. So.
Just one half a star from Tom Normandy.
That's a super real name.
Rating D. They got a kitty for their profile picture. There's no plot. Half Shakespeare, half annoying, immature characters doing stupid shit.
I mean, sure. This person gave Resident Evil 5 stars.
Amongst their favorite films, Deep Impact.
Yeah, Deep Impact. Other 5-star films include Resident Evil, Hereditary, Scream 3, Hostel Part 2, Chernobyl again. People just like Chernobyl. It's a good show, I guess. So what's not to like? All the Screams, apparently, 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tom Normandy's top 30 all-time favorite horror films. Number 1, The Ring remake.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good show, sure.
Number 2, Blair Witch Project. I'm on board with that.
Not bad.
Wrong Turn at number 5. Interesting.
Is that a good show?
No.
Okay.
No. I gave that 1 star. That's how good that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a good one.
Yep. At number 30, Signs.
That should be, I mean, if this was reversed at number 1, Signs, yeah, I would agree with
Is Signs better or worse than Cabin Fever?
I haven't seen Cabin Fever, but I feel confident in saying that it's better.
I think you're onto something there. I don't think you're a Cabin Fever guy.
No.
I don't know if you're an Eli Roth guy.
Not much. I don't mind. I don't like actively dislike him, but I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
So, nah.
Any final words?
Nah. It ain't great.
All right.
It ain't great.
No, it's not. It's not. After the break, RJ leaves the podcast and goes back to join Proper Society.
Like
selling cows.
Fancy Society?
Cow Society.
Cow Society.
Yeah.
Cows. Okay.
Cows.
Interesting.
Someone's got to get taco time, right?
Someone's got to get that E-grade meat. No problem.
Mm-hmm. E-grade meat.
That was in the news. That's not slander. That was in the news one time.